And I want to talk about a miracle that has happened this morning that will never happen in exactly the same way again. Look around you at the people who are here. This group of people, this particular configuration of people has never happened before. And the chances are really good that it will never happen again. So take a look at those people who are near you and say, I'm glad you're here. They are a part of your miracle this morning. As we are picturing ourselves in the story, we have this old story. We have a story that makes for beautiful music and great stories with kids. And we have a story that scientifically is very difficult to prove. The story as it is told in the Gospel of Mark, the way that Deb read it for us this morning, thank you, Deb, ends with an empty tomb, like that empty egg, nothing in it. We have to figure out, what do we believe about what happened next? It was so hard for the early church to deal with that if you have a study Bible and you open it up to the very end of the Gospel of Mark, you will find there are two other endings there. And they don't even go with the rest of the story. They're written at a later time and tacked on. One of them talks about Jesus appearing to Mary Magdalene, the one that recognized him as the gardener, and appearing to a couple of disciples on the road, maybe on the way to Emmaus, and appearing to disciples locked in the upper room. But none of that was originally in Mark. Mark is the first written of the Gospels, and it ends on this mystery. It ends with an empty tomb and with women who are seized with terror, scared, and go away telling no one. I know that you being here this morning is a miracle. Because if they really went away and told no one, none of us would be here. At some point in time, their love for God, their love for Jesus, their love for the other disciples got them to get over their fear enough that they could tell someone that the tomb was empty. Maybe they told it with a sense of, oh, I remember now, Jesus said he would rise from the dead. Maybe they told it with hearts full of faith, believing that Jesus was alive. Maybe they told it from a place of fear, thinking that maybe that giant stone, much bigger even than Miss Debbie's stone, bigger than a whole person, that stone had been rolled away maybe by grave robbers or maybe by the people who put Jesus to death. Maybe someone had stolen the body and was going to add even further insult to the injury they had put on Jesus. Maybe they were scared that whatever happened to Jesus was going to happen to them. Whatever it was that they were initially fearful of, they overcame it. They overcame it enough to tell someone, who then overcame it enough to tell someone, and on down through until you and me. And all of us are here because someone told you. Now, I do know that on especially high holidays like Easter and Christmas, there are probably some people who are here not because of the overwhelming sense of belief that got them up this morning, but because it was on their calendar to do. Today was Easter Sunday, and they were going to go to church. Or maybe it was because someone that they care about very much wanted them to come to church, and so they came to church. Maybe it was because someone who's no longer here with us, maybe a mother or a father or a grandparent, would have wanted you to be in church on Easter. Maybe that's why you're here today. Regardless, it's because someone told you that today would be a good day to be here in church. Today would be a good day to be a part of this group that overcomes the fear of, gosh, we don't really know how this happens. We're saying we believe in a mystery that 2,000 years ago, someone rose from the dead. And the movement that he began, a movement that had people loving their enemies, reaching out to those who were not in their ethnic group, reaching out even beyond the limits of where their faith said they could go. That people overcame the fear of continuing to do that even after Jesus died. When we say with the church of all ages, Christ is risen indeed, we don't say Christ was raised. We don't say 2,000 years ago this happened. We say Christ is risen. That means that Christ is living now in you and in me, in our hearts, whenever we live in the way he invited us to live. And Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Alleluia. Alleluia. Amen. Part of picturing ourselves in the story is claiming this story for ourselves. There are many different ways we can affirm our faith. There are, in the back of the United Methodist hymnal, a number of affirmations of faith. If you grew up in the Lutheran Church, you may be most familiar with the Apostles' Creed. You might have even said it as an affirmation of faith every Sunday. Maybe in the Episcopal Church or the Catholic Church, you know the Nicene Creed, and you said that one every Sunday. The one that I'm going to invite you to say today is one that comes from some of the stories that were written by some of the first Christian believers. They come in the form of letters of the Apostle Paul, and they were written even before the Gospel of Mark. And so this is one of the affirmations. You'll find it in the back of your hymnal, number 888. And if you are so brave, if you can overcome the fear of perhaps standing up in a faith that you don't completely understand, that is still full of mystery, I invite you to stand and join together in this affirmation of faith.